everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the first session in 2023 of the Carson City Cultural Commission. It's relatively interesting and unusual that it's a very different board these days. So having said that, I want to say that we need to determine a quorum. Okay,
Chairperson Dineo,
here.
Commissioner Mowers, here. Commissioner Drysdale, here. Commissioner Horton, Commissioner Flakus, Commissioner Smith, present. Commissioner Moore, a quorum is present.
Thank you. Todd, may I ask that each person introduce themselves to the public before we get moving? So, okay, Sam, let's start with you moving to their left. Oh, see this pad in front of you? There you go. It should be green.
Sam Flakus, and that's all I have to say.
Valerie Moore.
I'm Susan Mowers. Do you want us to tell us a little bit about our,
Well, just what you do, how your connection, what your business, what board, whatever. That would help everybody get a connection to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
My connection, so I work with the department, the Nevada Division of Tourism in the marketing department. And then just personally, I've been very involved in the arts for a very, very long time.
And Val, how about you?
I work with the Sierra Arts Foundation.
Good. Sam, do you want to add anything?
That's a little long-winded, but I'll keep it short and just say I'm a local artist.
Okay. And Mike?
Good evening. My name is Michael Smith. I'm the president, the founder of the Northern Nevada Cultural Foundation, a 501c3 organization.
Good evening. I'm Curtis Horton. I'm a member of the Carson City Board of Supervisors and interested in the arts. So here I am on this commission.
And Bethany Drysdale, formerly with Travel Nevada for a long time, and just an interested resident with kids in the community and want to make this place great for them to grow up in.
That's lovely. I think we have a very talented, interesting, and ready to work new board. And I welcome you all and say thank you for stepping up because it's really important to Carson City at this point. In terms of public, we have a quorum. In terms of public, the public is invited at this time to comment on and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of this public body, and there will be a 3-minute limit for anyone who is speaking. Does anybody wish at this time to make any comments?
Hi, thank you. I'm Sharon Ross, pardon me, with Capital City Arts Initiative. We're a visual arts organization here in Carson City. We've been here for 20 years. We produce the exhibitions that are in the Kroll Room. This artist lives in Carson City, Uban Edmonds. The title of the show is From the Heart. The other shows we have, we do 4 galleries. The other one we have at WNC's Bristlecone Gallery, and Sydney Teskey from Tuscarora has her exhibition up there. It's a wonderful exhibition. I encourage you to get up to college and see it. I gave you a copy of the essay. We commission essays for the Bristlecone and the Courthouse exhibitions. Michael Plyler's photography is going in tomorrow, starting to hang it tomorrow in the courthouse. And the reception for that show is February 15th, Wednesday, February 15th. We'd love to have you join us. And we have a student gallery over in the Community Development Building we call the Brick, and we currently have Photo Finish 2023 with work by 17 Carson High advanced photography students. And there's some really good work you should go see. CCAI also produces cultural talks. Since COVID, they're now all online. And you can go to our website and find them, and you can sit in the comfort of your own home and listen to a talk. And that's what we do. So do you have any questions?
Thank you, Sharon. It's always a pleasure. And all those 4 different venues are a wonderful opportunity for you to see some real talent in Carson. And I hope that you will avail yourself of the opportunity to go and enjoy art in Carson City. Thank you, Sharon. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the possible approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Did anybody have an opportunity to even read them? You did. Okay, good. So can I just do a voice vote, Todd? Okay. On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we get to do something truly wonderful and very special and dear to many, many hearts in Carson City. And I'm not going to cry. And it's recognition of a wonderful human being, Karen Abad. And after talking to you today, I wrote a little kind of something, and I just don't want to put it together here. Karen serves on the Cultural Commission 4 terms, which is just really a lot. But it says 14 years. That's very interesting. In that time, she has been a dedicated and steady supporter of the arts and the development of a robust direction for our city and our community. She was on the Board of Supervisors from 2011. She also served on the Cultural Commission as the Board of Supervisor representative to this group. Shelley Aldine, who was a former Board of Supervisors and known to many of you in this room, was actually one of the founders of the Arts and Culture Commission. Folks followed her lead, and during the early 2000s, she had vision to design, develop, and institute the Cultural Commission. We're in the city's code. They got this. To encourage arts and culture development to benefit all forms of artistic endeavors, artists, community, and visitors of and to our wonderful city. Your dad was also president of the Cultural Commission after Shelley, and after Shelley was Peter Barton, and so it has gone on down the line with some wonderful, talented people in this community. But Karen kind of heads the whole top of it. While serving on the Board of Supervisors, she was the board representative to the Cultural Commission. She brought insight, wisdom, artistic endeavors, clear ideas about growth and the development of arts and culture in Carson City. That is absolutely on point. I personally learned so much with her guidance and patience. Thank you for being there, because I wouldn't have lasted. It has been a very long haul to get where we are today. Many changes, many ups, many downs, many forward. It's like that 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Well, now we're going all forward. And thanks to you, Karen, for a very big part of that. Thanks for steadily helping us to see future possibilities and to move us forward as we pursue a more integrated and diversified arts and culture dynamic in Carson City. With your insight, leadership, guidance, and calm persuasion, Karen, always calm, we will make it, and you will be proud of our town. And we would like to recognize all the wonderful things and times and efforts that you put into the Culture Commission. You need to come on up here, because we have a little something for you. And we want you, I don't know, are you even going to be able to? No, but you have to go down there to the table and sort of face everybody and open it up. This is our gift to you to thank you for all your wonderfulness. They broke the mold with Karen, let me tell you. Yeah, Jeffrey did a good job. Anybody have a knife? Who's got a knife? Sam's going to come help you. Oh, dear. There's more tape inside. This was such fun, Karen. Careful. There's more wrappings. Uh-huh. This is called a gotcha. Yeah. Karen collects teapots.
Assuming that's a local artist.
Yeah, and it is a local artist. Yeah. She's quite wonderful. Good Lord. We're going to have a conversation with Jeffrey. I didn't do no. No, Jeff did it for artsy fartsy. But he knows her very well. Isn't that super cool? Yeah, you have to.
They could see behind all the wrapping.
We're here. Yeah. Would love to you and thank you. And you really did pave the way for this. And with Charlie's help, thank you both. Love you. That really is pretty. It's just pretty. Yay. Okay, I'd like us, we are now on number 5. For possible action, discussion and possible action regarding the election of a chair and a vice chair for the Carson City Cultural Commission. Sierra, it's got you on there. It's got your name on it.
This is Todd Reese, Deputy DA. It does have Sierra's name on it. However, this one is more up to the existing chair or outgoing chair to work with. Basically, it's kind of polling the commission to see who they want to nominate and elect as chair and vice chair.
The floor is open for any nominations at this point. Kurt? May I first? The button in front of you till it's green. There you go. Thank you.
Curtis Horton for the record. I would like to move to appoint Barbara Denio to the position of the Carson City Cultural Commission's chairman.
There a second?
I second. Sorry, one more year, please.
Okay, well, considering that everybody on the board is new, it's kind of like, okay. Okay, on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I get the vote? Okay, now we will do the same thing for the vice chair, and I would like to nominate. Can I nominate? I would like to nominate Susan. Is
I
there a
will
second?
second that.
Any comments on the motion for vice chair? All those in favor? Opposed? Yay. Get ready for next year because it's yours. Thank you very much. And I just think we have a wonderful year ahead of us. I'm so excited about where we are and what we're going to be doing. Okay, for discussion only, 5B is the presentation and discussion regarding an update on the Carson City arts and culture activities. That will be both Sierra Scott, for those of you who are new to the room, who is our person for the Cultural Commission, thank you, God, and Deborah Soul, who is the CTA and our person. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Hello, Sierra Scott for the record. We have a little presentation here. Deborah and I are going to present together. As you'll see in this presentation, our two positions really work in tandem on all of the projects that support the Arts and Culture Strategic Plan. However, each of us takes point on certain projects that fall more within our jurisdiction. So we'll be going back and forth for some of our upcoming projects. A few of these we're going to go more into depth a little bit later in the meeting as well. Okay, fairly sure all of you know, but I am the Arts and Culture Supervisor for Carson City Parks, Recreation, and Open Space.
And I'm the Arts and Culture Program Manager at the CTA. Deborah Soul.
All right.
And for the new people, please, the CTA means?
The CTA stands for the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority.
Thank you.
All right, this is an initiative that we are launching actually hopefully tomorrow. We had been getting some questions about how this is working. It's kind of a different arrangement than we've had in the past, and also that a lot of cities don't have. So we wanted to create a Carson City Arts and Culture presence on social media and a website so that folks understood our two positions, how we work collaboratively to achieve the goals of the strategic plan together. So we are launching this Facebook page where we can share things that we are doing in both of our program areas and also things that are going on in the community. You know, I'd love to talk about the CCAI exhibits and all of that. We just want to really highlight what's happening in the community and have a platform to do that.
And to engage in dialogue with the community about arts and culture.
So once we launch that, I will send that link to all of you. Hopefully you can all follow. And if there are things that you think should be promoted, again, that are directly related to the city's arts and culture programming, please let us know.
Mark Twain Days. Some of you already know about this in great detail, and I'm sure there's probably a few here who are not as up to date with what's been happening. Just to fill you in, Mark Twain Days is a new annual festival that is taking place this April 21st to the 23rd here in downtown Carson City. It's a celebration of the life and times of Mark Twain in Carson City, given that this was the city in which he first signed his name as Mark Twain, which many people are not aware of. There's a full weekend of activities being planned. That planning is coming along very nicely. Some of the highlights of the festival for people who haven't really heard as much about it, there's a Mark Twain train running on the Friday night, which is on the V&T rail. It's an excursion from Carson City to Virginia City and back. It's a cocktail train featuring Mark Twain's favorite cocktails. Saturday, we have a number of literary events taking place. We have historic performances featuring people like McAvoy Lane, some Chautauquan actors. We have a Walk-in Sam's Shoes event being led by Mary Bennett in the West District of Carson City that will feature Mark Twain's, the home he used to live in, the Orion, the Clemens home, and some of his favorite haunts in Carson City. There's going to be a runway event, which is a costume competition and Mark Twain look-alike event, which we've just been informed is now going to be graced with 2 young actors from Hannibal, Missouri, who are honored. Each year they have 2 extraordinary students that are selected to be Tom and Becky. And they contacted us to find out if Tom and Becky could join us here in Carson City. And they're very well trained in their roles, and they're going to be doing the engagement skit from the Huckleberry Finn book and participating in the whole weekend's festival, which we're really excited about. There's all kinds of other events. If anybody wants to know more about them, you can go to the Mark Twain Days website, and there's a whole list of the whole weekend's activities.
Okay, Barbara, for the record, and they are seriously looking for contributions, donations, folks who are going to be willing to step up and help in this effort because it is very expensive. Is there anything you want to say about any developments that have happened in the last 24 hours?
Well, we are actively seeking sponsorships for the festival now, and as Barb has indicated, it's extremely important. This is the first year of the festival, the hardest year to get sponsorships, but we just learned that we received a $20,000 sponsorship today.
Yay.
But we still need more.
Yeah, it's quite pricey, and this really opens a lot of doors in northern Nevada, and certainly we need to recognize, you know, the wonders of yesterday and bring it into today. So continue on.
Can I add a comment to that? Bethany Drysdale, for the record. I went to the fundraiser in October with McAvoy Lane. It was fabulous. The buzz around what's coming in April was so exciting. And I'm seeing marketing now. I'm getting all sorts of stuff on Facebook about the events, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So really well done, just ginning up some of that excitement ahead of time. And I think this is going to be a great festival.
And Susan Mowers, for the record, I just have to give so many kudos to Deborah because this has been a year-long process now, and more than that. But so she's been wrangling the city and everything. So great job.
But needs help at this point. Please, we need to make this really a spectacular event. Thank you.
The Mark Twain mural. The Mark Twain mural is a public art mural that is obviously being created in conjunction with the Mark Twain Days Festival. It's to be completed and installed before April, located on the Robinson Wall of the Nevada State Museum. The commission has now been contracted. The proposal by artist Jamie Vinsek won the contract. She's an artist originally from Las Vegas, more recently relocated to Ely, where she has been working on a number of murals in that community. And she has put forward a proposal to create a very colorful, dynamic portrait of Samuel Clemens that I think will be eye-catching and will really, really mark Carson City and the festival as a place to be remembered with a mural that is amazing.
Is this the mural that we're looking at here on the screen?
That's actually the image that
That's
she
the
is
image
proposing, yes.
Oh my, that's
Yes.
lovely.
Okay, the next project we're going to talk about is the Stewart Street Roundabout Gateway Project. I'm not going to go too into depth here because this is on another agenda item as well. But we are looking to start this RFQ process in the next month or so to get a piece of public art in that roundabout. The Mural Festival, again, we're going to be going into this in more detail, but it will be in partnership with Sierra Arts Foundation, the Brewery Arts Center, and right now we're targeting October. And I will, we're going to talk about that later. You'll have a whole lovely presentation on that. Go to Deborah.
Deborah Soul, the Cultural Corridor Project. Again, some of you may have heard of this. It is a proposal that was accepted that we had submitted to Travel Nevada for their 3D destination development program. The program was looking for proposals that would improve each of the locations as a tourism destination with preference given to projects that involved more than one region or more than one entity. So we put forward a proposal to create a cultural corridor that will extend from Virginia City through Carson City and into the Carson Valley and include all art studios, museums, galleries, historical destinations, historical sites, of which there are many, based on the rationale that most of these destinations are run by small nonprofit organizations that usually don't have the resources to adequately market themselves, and that by pulling them together under one banner and brand as a cultural corridor, it will expose this area as an arts and culture destination. And there'll be all kinds of mechanisms developed during the first year of planning for that program to make this a successful initiative and to create the Carson, Virginia City, Carson Valley Cultural Corridor as a tourism destination.
Okay, as Barbara, for the record, is there the beginnings of a financial cost and/or impact?
Each of the entities at this point is expected to participate in the planning process to make this as successful as possible. Once that plan is completely pulled together, and there's a team of consultants that will be working with to do that, each of the 6 entities that were selected from across the state would be eligible for a part of a $2 million fund to implement the project.
Wow, that's wonderful. Really? Any comments? Anybody want to add anything or any questions that you might have on this?
Just congratulations, because that was this is a new program that Travel Nevada is doing. And so when I heard, I couldn't say anything. I was very excited for you.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And next, arts and culture classes.
Yeah. So we're looking to partner with Sierra Arts Foundation again to bring some arts and culture classes, workshops, programming, probably here to the community center. And these would be for some classes for youth in different age ranges and possibly some classes for adults as well. In a perfect world, we'd love to have these, most of them as free to the public, especially for youth. So looking for grant funding and other sponsors for these kinds of classes so that there aren't barriers to having kids be able to take these classes.
How's it going to be marketed?
Carson City Parks and Rec has a pretty great reach for their classes that they already run through Carson City. So we'll have all of their marketing at our disposal, and also, our new Carson City Arts and Culture Facebook page as well.
Online?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. So, and we will also make sure we disseminate this information to the schools, the Carson City School District.
Yes,
the
that would.
Boys and Girls Club,
Mhm.
that program in the afternoon, the after-school program.
Absolutely. That would absolutely be the hope. Okay.
Next.
So that's just a brief overview of our current projects. They are, we are a staff of 2 and a lot of really ambitious projects coming up. But we're excited, and we've got great support from both of our agencies working together. So that is it for that presentation.
It is at this point, if you have any of the commissioners have any comments, any questions? No? Okay, well, good luck to you, and please call on us as you need us, because we're supposed to be here to support the efforts going on in Carson City for arts and culture. Certainly, we've spent enough years trying to get there. Now we're there. Let's move it forward, okay? Thank you very much for your efforts. They are quite wonderful. Okay, we are now moving on to item 5C for possible action. Discussion and possible action regarding a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors concerning the scope of work and project goals for the South Stewart Street Roundabout Gateway Monument Public Art Project. That's a mouthful. Sierra?
Okay.
It's all yours.
Sierra Scott for the record. In your packet, you have the scope of work and project goals. I'm just going to hit the key points here and then open it up for any questions that you have. The goal of this is to select an artist or artist team to design, fabricate, and install a freestanding outdoor original sculpture at the South Carson Street, Stewart Street roundabout. This is the tail end of the recently completed South Carson Complete Streets project. And one of the focal points of that corridor revitalization is this roundabout, which serves as a gateway connecting the commercial corridor of South Carson Street with the historic downtown area of Carson City. The public art piece in the roundabout will be seen as a celebration of our community and provide welcoming aesthetics to pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists entering from all directions. This has been in the works since 2018 and pushed back for a variety of reasons, including funding. There was a match first received for this back in 2018, and a working group was created at that point, and they identified these goals for this art piece, which is to be site-specific, unique, and inviting, incorporate Carson City symbols, emblems, culture, and/or history, include clean, simple lines, be an iconic gateway piece, and be aesthetically appealing from all directions. The budget for this project, currently, we have $100,000 allocated for the project, which is a mix of the 1% occupancy tax from CTA and redevelopment funds. We are requesting an additional $50,000 in redevelopment funds for FY24, which would bring the total project budget to $150,000, which is a little bit more in line as materials and costs have risen over the past couple of years, especially for the installation, which is the main concern. The selection process, we are following the selection process as outlined in the public art policy, and this is the first time that this has kind of gone into effect since that policy was approved. So we would do an RFQ process, and we'll have an ad hoc public art panel review those submissions, select up to 3 semifinalists who will be invited here for site visits and also to interview with stakeholders, and we would probably have an open workshop for public comment so that those artists can get to know the city, get to know, what the community wants for that public art piece, and then they'll take all that information back, they'll create a proposal, and then they will present that proposal to that public art panel, and then they will select from those 3 the finalist. And at that point, they will bring that finalist to the Cultural Commission for approval and then to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Is there a time frame?
In a perfect world, the final presentation would be July, and the selection of the finalist would be in July. The contracting and final approvals would all be August. And then it will likely be early 2024 that installation actually happens with this timeline. However, it could be sooner depending on fabrication and depending on the piece that's selected. That is the general overview. Any questions?
Well, I have a question because it says for possible action. What is it that you would like us to, one, discuss, and 2, what possible motion would we send to the Board of Supervisors?
So the motion would be to recommend the scope of work and project goals. Per the public art policy, that is the process that's outlined. So for any large public art piece, for any public art piece in general, the process is that you all make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors to move forward with the project.
Is there somebody who wishes to move?
Sam Flake, it's just,
Well, Sam, if we could get a motion and a second, then we can open it for discussion.
sure.
Right, Todd? Yeah.
However you want to handle that is okay.
So is there a motion?
So I would like to move to recommend to the Board of Supervisors the scope of work and project goals for the South Stewart Street Roundabout Gateway Monument Public Art Project.
Is there a second? Now it's open for discussion. Sam?
Okay, one question, just for clarification for what it is that we're voting on. We're essentially voting on the process of how we select a monument.
The process is already approved in the public art policy, so we are following that. This vote is just to approve the project as a whole and that you think that this is beneficial and supports the goals of the Arts and Culture Strategic Plan.
Right, just broadly, we're trying to motion to the Board of Supervisors that we want to put a project costing X amount of dollars there. Doesn't say anything about what it'll look like, what materials are, none of that. We'll figure that out later. We
Correct.
just want to, this is just phase A, just figuring out that we want something. We just don't know what.
Correct.
Okay.
Susan?
So yeah, Susan Myers for the record. So with this, kind of going off of what Sam was saying, do we have, I mean, you have some, things here, be site-specific, unique, inviting, all of that, clean, civilized. Do you have a little bit more as far as, is it just, it's sculpture, just kind of the general category, and that what it will be but
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
there
guess a
is-
little bit more, it just seems quite open.
There is an RFQ in the works, which is about 10 pages long. But again, per the public art policy, this body didn't need to approve the RFQ, just the
I'm just
scope
curious.
of work and project goals. So yeah, we have a lot of detail from Public Works about
Gotcha.
exactly the diameter, as-built, all of that about the specifications
Gotcha.
that the artist will need to look at.
No worries, and I guess I wasn't meaning about the specifics, I was just meaning
Yeah.
like it's a sculpture work, not like a mural or anything like that, or
Yeah, it'll be a-
functional, it's just a
Yeah,
piece of
a
artwork.
freestanding outdoor original sculpture is the
Okay.
verbiage that we're using. Yeah.
Which will also define height limitations, visual scope,
Yeah.
that whole thing.
Yeah, and this is, we had discussed this with Public Works as far as height limitations and things like that, and they're fairly open with it. They had mentioned that it's going to, whatever the cement pad is, or how it's,
The base.
the base of it, thank you, is going to determine how tall it can be, so they're leaving all of that up to the artist. And the final plans will go in front of Public Works and the building department as well for approval.
Susan Myers for the record again, yeah, because my only thing is I'm wondering about, I'm sure all the like visibility, safety, all of that goes through them.
Yeah, exactly.
Barbara, for the record, it's my understanding that there needs to be visibility all the way around so that as you're driving in any direction, you can see folks on the other side. That was my understanding of what they're supposed to do. Like, you couldn't put a big building up there because it cuts off the visibility for folks going around it.
There are two schools of thought on that. One of them is that maintaining visibility throughout the roundabout, and then there's another school of thought that when vehicles are not able to see all around the roundabout, they're more likely to look left and right and see what's immediately coming towards them instead of on the other side. And I've talked about this again with Public Works. So, things they're really conscious of in looking at this, and they'll be part of the public art panel as well.
Sam?
Sam Flakus for the record. Has it been established that it will not be a water feature? It won't be a fountain?
There,
'Cause someone's going to ask.
there is the capability of water. There may be gas lines. Again, these are all things that the public art panel will look at and decide on a case-by-case basis, looking at the proposals.
Any other comments?
I just have one other question as far as with, sorry, Susan Myers for the record. So just as far as the process for it coming to us, so you'll have this panel and whatnot, and it's the finalists that come before this commission for
Correct.
final approval.
Correct.
And selection of the finalists, or
The
see-
just approval of the chosen proposal.
okay.
And there will be members of this committee on the ad hoc public art panel. Usually it's made up of, obviously not a quorum, but members of the Cultural Commission, members of the community, artists, and any other community stakeholders that are connected to each project.
Cool.
Thank you. Are we ready for a vote on the motion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And you have a 7-0. Take it to the board. Okay, possible action on 5D, discussion regarding a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors concerning the proposed Carson City Murals and Music Festival. And we have speakers. Yay! And gentlemen, again, touch the thing in front of you, and when it turns green, please identify yourself for the record and then make your presentation.
And this is Sierra Scott for the record. Before we get into the presentation, I did want to note that this is sort of a new opportunity per the public art policy. In section 6.7, it is a public art selection for unique opportunities. A unique opportunity for public art will be determined through the recommendation of the Carson City Cultural Commission at the discretion of the city manager. And because this festival would not go through the typical public art selection process, we looked at this as a unique public art opportunity, which is why it's coming in front of you, even though it's an event. It does kind of cross over with event and public art opportunity. So there's a little background on that. And I will turn it over.
My name is Eric Brooks with the Sierra Arts Foundation, and I'm here to talk to you about the Carson City Mural and Music Festival. And this will be presented presented by Brewery Arts Center. So we have Spike McGuire. Do you want to say your name?
This is Spike McGuire for the record.
Fantastic. So this would be the 4th mural festival in Northern Nevada. We did Reno a few years ago, then decided to go to rural areas. We did Elko, which was absolutely fantastic. Then the city of Fernley came to me and asked if we could do something there, which we ended up doing. It started before COVID and ended up finishing after COVID. We've done more than 200 murals between Reno and these other, well, in Reno, more than 200 murals exist right now. And then we've helped facilitate over 200 murals between the 3 events. So this would be the 4th one, where it really should be the capital city. Carson City should be recognized as a place, as an arts destination. And so this will be a major event, along with some of the other ones that have already been discussed tonight and other ones that have happened in the past, as a semi-permanent way to impart public knowledge to both those who live here in the community and also as a draw for people who are going to come here as a tourist or for legislation. So we're looking at doing 19 murals in 4 days. And the image there is one that Eric Burke, who has helped with all of the mural events that I've helped produce, and he has already signed on to be one of the featured artists. So this one is a north-facing wall on a county building.
So pretty.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the best ones in town for sure, and he's painting all over the world. He's spent the last month or so in Mexico traveling, painting there as well. So Eric Burke, this was another one. This was in Lithuania. He's a master of shade and color and shape and is a super fun, easygoing guy to work with. You're all going to love. If you haven't met him already, you're going to love working with him. He's already done a few here in Carson as well. Josie Rock. Joe is absolutely fantastic as an artist and a person as well. He's currently just finished his apprenticeship as a tattoo artist. This is a piece that he did with Eric Burke during Art Town 4 years ago. And these are all representations of people who are very important to Nevada, although they might not be at all well known. And the very end there is Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. Joe has mentored under Eric for several years and has now come out on his own and is doing absolutely incredible work. And he's very excited. They both participated in all the events. And Joe's excited to come down here to Carson and have his mark left.
Yeah. Is this currently up? We can go see it.
Yeah, this is the backside of Junkie. So this would be Center Street, east-facing wall. Anybody recognize any of those people?
I thought it was
Jack Johnson,
I thought it was
fantastic.
Henry Fonda in the middle.
Yeah, how about the center figure? He's the only one that's still alive.
Wow.
Well, Abe Lincoln's down there. Yep, he's the next to Jack Johnson. So right in the center is Michael Heiser. He's a well-known land artist, and he just opened up his Opus piece down near Vegas. And the hat that he's wearing is modeled after the piece that is in front of the Federal Building on Virginia Street.
Oh, okay.
And that was his father was a geologist, archaeologist, and that fish-shaped piece with holes in it was something that his father found in a native cave. And so that's where that story came from.
So it's my understanding that, like Karen did the tour of all the murals, and that it takes a couple of hours, and that there is a cost to it. Do you anticipate that it would follow that would happen here in Carson?
So in Reno, there's a couple different groups that are offering tours that you would pay to go on. The most current one is a pedicab. Pineapple pedicabs would take 2 people, and you can pay them to do that. Sierra Arts is working on having a free map of all the murals to where you could just know where they are and go do that tour on your own. But there are guided tours. So that option would be up to, I know Fernley, well, Elko is probably the best representation of a body, a local body that's taken upon their own shoulders. They did a second event after we did one with great success, just the local body themselves. And they do tours. The Merchant Association takes care of the tours, and they do those almost like a wine walk. And so depending on where we will be able to locate the walls, ideally we'd be able to have downtown be a walkable part and then have other bigger buildings find walls that would be both north and south and incorporate other parts of the city. And then you could have that be free or charged for merchant or however you want to do, maybe a holiday one. There's lots of options for that.
I'm kind of curious as I talk with people, Barbara for the record, in the community. Carson City is diverse and dispersed. And a lot of folks don't want to come to downtown. Is there a way that we can think about where in the, like on the east side and the west side and north and south, we could have arts for folks who would be going to the store or whatever, so that it's not you're going to a dedicated area to see art? Because I'm telling you, we may all be in the art world, but there's a lot of folks who aren't in this town, and we want them to want to be involved. So can you think about, I'm just saying, putting that out there to think about that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a revitalization project, and most cities look at their downtown. For Elko and for Fernley, they both targeted their downtown areas specifically. And with Fernley, it was originally a grant that had to be within a certain district of their downtown. But once that opened up after COVID, then we were able to choose walls coming and going from both sides of town to catch people. So of course, yeah, we would work with members of the community and business owners in particular so that we'd be able to hit the most highly recognized spots of art for people who are not normally coming for something like that.
Great, that's wonderful.
Can I add something?
Sam?
Yeah, Sam Flake is for the record. I just want to add to what Barbara was saying about reaching out to everyone in town and not just in downtown. It occurred to me that murals, I mean, they go on flat spaces without a whole lot of windows. Flat spaces without a whole lot of windows are generally on the outer parts of town, away from downtown. That's why we go out of our way to decorate freeways. I think that it probably would be in everyone's best interest if we went out of our way to find big box stores and billboards and things that should have big murals on them that would otherwise just be blank space. Not that you shouldn't go into downtown for murals, but I think that it does lend itself to a bigger audience in doing so. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we'll work with any suggestions that we can gather. And we also worked very tightly in Elko with traffic patterns. And so we were able to work with the city and developed coming and going from rush hour, 6 different distinct roads. And then we were able to find walls that we're going to choose 100 walls, and then we're going to divide out which ones can be the best to paint. And that'll be determined by visibility primarily, and then also accessibility, and then business and building owner agreeability.
Okay, it seems that everything seems to be located in a confined area. I'm thinking about the north end of town where they are dying to get businesses in there. There are empty storefronts. There's all kinds of stuff there. That whole huge thing before you get to the hospital, beyond Glen Eagles. There's nothing there. Is there any way that you can start looking at stuff like this?
Yep, we actually all came. We have Lauren Huft in the back. She's helped with all of the events. She'll be hopefully the volunteer coordinator as well. And we spent a couple hours earlier today, since we were all together, looking at walls, in particular in that area from off the freeway, the hospital, to downtown. So that area will be incorporated.
Okay, and the businesses on the east side. I mean, I wanted to get out of just the downtown. We need to just get out there in the community,
and that's budget oriented as well. And so once an area is chosen, and Elko's a great example of that, Reno's a great example of that as well. Reno's gone through probably 8 different iterations of an area being chosen. Midtown was started by Eric Burke, that area being painted when it was still less than desirable to walk through. And he and his friends deliberately chose certain businesses to paint on and to approach, and they did that for free. And that was the first big step in getting a mural seen. So we won't be able to do the whole city at once, but once one area is done and other areas are touched, then the next year or a couple years later, there'll be all that energy and excitement, and another area can be done, another area can be done. And that's what we can see in Reno. It is now throughout the city. The city body that does arts has the Signal Box program, and that's the way you can touch areas that are far out of town and get those little bits of art in between as well with a smaller budget. So that this is a big kickoff for a larger, expansive rollout in your future.
Are these permanent or movable?
They're all on static walls.
Okay. A thought, because it came up before this commission about 4 years ago. There are a lot of empty storefronts in Carson City, and there was a suggestion that we could get artists to do artwork and put them inside the windows so that at least people going around with realtors would see there was something they could look at there and at least get them to look at the building. And I just thought that was interesting. We have a comment with Kurt?
Well, that's a hypothetical,
Curtis,
100
for the
walls.
record.
I'm gonna look at 1,000 walls in this city.
Right.
And then we're gonna narrow it down. We're not gonna say this should be a wall, this should be a wall, and let's just do those walls.
What will you
It's
narrow
gonna
it
be a
down to?
canvas of the entire city and then seeing which walls would be best appropriately painted. A lot of that's gonna be how they align with the street, how they align with other businesses, how the weather's going to affect them. Direct sunshine's a big difference in certain areas, what they're made out of. Of course, we're not gonna do anything historic or historic brick, anything like that. So there's a lot, we're gonna really look at all of these buildings and see a way we can start to begin a skeleton of comprehension so that down the road, you're gonna have this incredible body of public artwork, a walkable, drivable at least, gallery.
Do you feel like you'll have 10 murals or 50?
We're looking at
murals?
19 for this first event. Yep, and that'll vary in size, and that's based on the budget.
Thank you.
And to give you an example, in Elko, we started with 30 walls and we ended up with 64. And some of that was due to extra, as we were fundraising, people really got into it. We were able to raise larger budgets. We were able to invite more artists. Same thing happened in Fernley. It started with 12 walls. We ended up with over 30. Sierra Arts picked up a lot of that bill, as Val knows, for my eagerness in getting more walls out there. So we want to work within our budget and really have a positive, fun event that's going to get the community excited and want to have this snowball into something bigger down the road, like a continuing event.
Okay. Spike, did you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Spike McGuire for the record here. I was going to cite another great example from Elko. Part of getting these initial murals out and the excitement that it generates, the Thunderbird Motel in Elko, I think, is a great example. The owner came out and was like, I want another mural on the building. And Eric said, well, we have artists. All of the artists are working right now. And the gal came out and grabbed her step stool and she just started painting her own mural on the outside of it. And it was really cool and it was really neat. And it was just so fun to see the community get that excited to a point where they're even taking steps on their own to bring more art into the community. And I think that that's one of the great things about this. And as Eric mentioned, Elko did a follow-up event with their own local body. And so it starts small and it just kind of starts to spread naturally after that.
Okay, to our wonderful lady persons. Anybody who owns a store, they want to put up something, can they just put it up or do they have to get approval?
Sierra Scott for the record. If it's on private property, they can do what they want with it.
Okay.
That's not within the public art policy.
Okay. Terrific. You're on.
So our next slide is Prism AG. She's a fantastic young female artist working right now in Veracruz. She has family in Reno. I met her 3 or 4 years ago, and we were able to locate 3 small walls for her. The next year, she was able to come out and participate at the Fernley event, and she's growing. That's the fun thing about these muralists too, is to see their progress grow. And already in just a couple years, her progress, talent-wise and technique-wise, is phenomenal. So we're really excited to bring an international artist from Mexico. She'll be coming for sure. She's confirmed. So the budget we're looking at right now is $63,000. $27,000 of that would be directly to the artists. And to give you an idea, well, we'll just go through it first. 4,300 would be a music stipend, and that would be directed through Brewery Arts Center. They're definitely the stellar group in town for anything musical. We're looking at, through grants, Brewery Arts Center raising $30,000. We're asking Carson City for $15,000. We're hoping to fundraise and get donations of $12,000. Community in kind donations, so that would be if you have a friend at the hotel, we can all work together, get some in-kind donations, and then Sierra Arts Foundation has agreed to be the fiscal agent for this, so all the monies would go in through them and out through them as well, which is a fantastic opportunity for their expertise and less work for Spike.
Yeah, it would be nice to have this in the minutes when it comes to us, just this sheet. It'd be nice to, can we have that?
Yeah, well, you
Can we add that to the minutes? That's a really,
The budget
the good piece, yeah.
will do.
Okay.
And one of these reasons why these events are so successful is because it becomes a big party, and big names can get attached to these events. So for Reno, we had Ricky Lee Gordon, who's based out of South Africa. He was doing the residency in LA, so we were able to bring him up. We had San Sebastian. Cebus Velasco, who lives in the Basque Country. He is phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He was in the Juxtaposed Top Artists of 2022 to watch. So he's a muralist and also a fine gallery artist. We presented the idea to him through email. He declined when he realized he had a job in Portugal booked during the same time. We targeted him, Eric Burke and I, because of the Basque connection between Elko and his region. When he understood everything that happened, he reached out to us about a month later and said, I've changed my plans for Portugal and I'm going to come paint in Elko. And it turned out our main Basco in Elko had family that was friends with his grandparents. So they've had this great connection. The piece that he did in Elko is featured in several magazines, one that was internationally recognized as well. So the artist, once you get these big artists attached, and Eric Burke is that big name for the Western United States right now, you get these other artists wanting to come paint with them. And so all of a sudden this $27,000 is being stretched in Fernley. The actual stipend should have been $250,000. And the actual is $25,800. So we're getting a lot of bang for the buck with these festival events. And so I can't promise it'll be that big of a difference here, but it will be tens and tens of thousands of dollars in savings being able to have all of this big event at once and having these connections with these artists.
I would kind of like to know, because it's not just me, but how's everybody reacting to this and feel about this whole idea? How does it strike you?
Susan Mowers for the
Yeah,
record.
go,
So
Susan.
I'm very familiar with all of the other ones you've done through Travel Nevada. With Fernley, we were really excited. With Elko, like it is such a thing that we can point to for tourism because it's great to have as an event. And then you have the murals still there. And it really, I think it just adds, and I'm excited for it to be part of, especially with this cultural corridor. It'll really be, one thing thinking about like, if this is the kickoff and this is, we start, and maybe we do start downtown, but then it would be great to, have like, almost like little pockets all over the city. So you could do a walkable here, you could do a walkable at north, you could do a walkable in east or drivable or whatever it is. So I just see it as nothing but a benefit to our community. I know there's more.
Val?
Valerie Moore for the record. I just think that you were talking about bringing more traffic to the north end of town. I think with these festivals there's a party element, like the unveiling, the big weekend, all that kind of stuff. Maybe as an idea, maybe that is a location in the north end of town, because that's where that's where the party starts, basically.
Well, let's party.
And so I don't know. I know it's the Sierra Art situation, so I don't say too much, but maybe that's an idea.
You like it, Bethany?
Yes, Bethany Drysdale for the record. I think this is really exciting as well, along with the party theme of it. I mean, I know Spike's music. May have had a beer or two at Brewery Arts Center and bought a CD, but just the excitement and the activity around this, I think, is going to be really great for Carson City. north end of town, there's some great thrift stores. I can envision, a thrift weekend and music and watching art happening. It's my birthday weekend. I'm going to be out there watching art happening. But this is really, really exciting. And $63,000, that's it. That's like half the price of one public piece of art. That's incredible to get 19 pieces of art throughout the city for $63,000. I mean, let's not even deliberate. Just take $63,000 and make it happen. That's just a no-brainer. That's incredible.
I second that motion.
So I'm thinking of the north end of town, the 900-pound gorilla is the hospital, of course. And I don't know what you could do there, but talk to Michelle Joy because she's in Rotary. She's the CEO of the hospital. There has to be some way to integrate the north end of town to this city. It's like they're lost cousins out there. So since I live in that area, I really hope that we do move in that way. I think this is, after almost 12 years of being on this board, I am so excited for the first time. So I'm really thrilled. Really thrilled. And thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead. Sam.
Sam Flakus for the record. Another place that, and full disclosure, I'm friends with this guy, but on the east side of the parking lot of the Nugget, where they had the downtown vintage.
Yeah.
So Travis, the guy who runs that, he tried to get me to do a mural for him on his fence back there, and I said, no way, you got to get a better fence up. But he really is trying to get things like this to make the east part of town, especially the east part of downtown, which is so open, it's so moonscaped there with asphalt, with the Nuggets parking lot, and the other side of Stewart Street from that parking lot. That might be a good partner to, and he didn't ask me or anything. I just thought of it, but that's another venue that could that would really could benefit from it.
Thank you. And the way these events work best is working hand in hand with each of you, and working hand in hand with two more people and two more people. And it really, these events are only successful when it's a community event. This isn't a Sierra Arts event, and it's technically a brewery arts center. This is a community event. And so we're just going to be the facilitators to get this art on the walls.
I totally agree. It was a wonderful presentation. I recall something that Kurt said in a meeting. Carson is relatively limited in terms of space, size, dimension, heights, and so on. And you were concerned about getting too far off the deep end with signage and plaques and this and that, that it needs to be done with taste. And I mean, here's an empty lot, let's throw something up there. I'm hoping that it's going to have a purpose and pull together so that it makes a lot of sense. Am I kind of putting, yeah, that's what I think.
I agree with you. And that's how these events work, is the artists want to do something that's for the community. Sebastian spent 3 days, he came early from Spain, and he spent 3 days walking around town, talking to people, taking pictures, and then based his mural on what ended up being a portrait of a bunch of old Bascos at the Star Hotel.
Another instance of that I really loved in Elko, Jen Charbonneau, one of my favorite muralists, she did a community piece of Lamoille Canyon, which is a really beautiful scenic spot outside of Elko. And the way that she did that mural is, as people passed by, she asked them to put their thumb in one of the colors of paint and put a thumbprint on. And so the whole community made this mural, and it's just individual thumbprints. And, kids would walk up and be like, oh, this is where we went camping that one time, and they put a thumb there. So it's been a really neat thing to see at all of these mural expos, because I more handled the music end of things. I'm, don't know as much about the art, so I'm always just overwhelmed by how great the art is. But the artists really want to make a connection to the community that they're painting in, and it's pretty cool to see the way that they interpret that through the work.
And Sierra, I want to ask you, it says that at the discretion of the city manager, so there's going to be people working together on this? making it happen.
From the city's perspective?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's why we wanted to bring it to you all first as a unique public art opportunity, because there are going to be a fair amount of these on private property, but we'd like to get at least a few on public property to add to our public art collection, which at this point is only 3 pieces. So this is a great opportunity to add to Carson City's public art collection, and the bonus of that is that anything that is on public property is going to be maintained by the city per the public art policy.
Okay, item 5D says for possible action, so.
Sierra Scott, for the record, there's 2 more slides that I'd love you guys to get
Okay.
some info on,
Oh,
just
great.
because there's some additional components to the festival
Okay.
that I'd like you to hear about.
You can just go to the next one if you want. So we would like to have educational benefits through artist lectures, at least 1 film screening, design and technique workshops so people can come in and be actual with the artists and learn some techniques. The docent-led mural tours, which Lauren Huff, sitting in the back, has taken the lead on in general. In the past, entertainment scheduled in local art, music, and theater venues, and this would create a collective creative identity and serve as a catalyst for continued revitalization. This is the event brochure we had for Elko. So it was a trifold. So you had just, that was the image we used, the logo we used. Then the very back were the sponsors, and then it's hard to read, but that was the schedule of events. So lots of things going on. And then the next slide was the inside. So you'd also have a map being designed that would be at your disposal afterwards, which would have all the locations, the artist's name, the socials, at least an Instagram for the artist, and then a map of where they are. So you could integrate that into whatever collateral the city is already using. And then we have a video if you want to see a video, if you're not quite sold yet.
Is it, anybody need the time to see it? No, I think everybody's jumping out of their chairs. It's kind of what I'm seeing here.
Well, thank you all very much for your time. We'll look forward to getting to know you better
This
on a
is
personal level and get this event started.
This is very exciting. Yay! We love it. So, having said that, we still have the possible action regarding this. Anybody want to step up for a motion here, kids?
I will move to recommend the Carson City Murals and Music Festival to the city manager.
Any comments, discussion? On the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It all passes. Yay! Gosh, Sierra and Deborah, this is awesome. We're moving. Okay, we move now to item non-action items for discussion only. Ye gods. Okay, item 6A, comments from the commission, members of the commission. Okay, and I think, Michael, there was something that you wanted to announce coming up that you wanted to share?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Michael Smith. Sierra, thank you for sending the information out to each of the cultural commission members and to the public. There will be a 2nd annual Capital City Black History Program that will take place on Thursday, February the 9th at the Western Nevada College in the library rotunda. So we're going to be moving the chairs, the tables out, and make that place look like a big auditorium with chairs. And I'm proud to let you know we have an invited speaker, Dr. Marco Robertson, who's an associate professor of history and an assistant director of the Ruth J. Simmons Center for Race and Justice from Prairie View A&M University in Prairie View, Texas, will be the guest speaker for this event. And this is free and open to the entire public. And I encourage all of you to attend. There will be several people on the agenda. We will have our own mayor presenting a proclamation, and I'm hoping we will have some students that's competing for the essay contest, because there will be a cash awards attached to that. And we're going to ask those kiddos, one for the 6th to 8th grade division and 1 through 9 through 12 high school. And we are asking them to read their essays at the event. So I'm looking forward to that. I would like to invite all of you to attend. And it starts at 6 o'clock at Western Nevada College. And the theme for this year is Black Resistance, Creating Communities of Care and Collaboration. And who doesn't want communities of care and collaboration, right? So we need that.
Yeah, I hope you'll have this on social media.
It is.
Okay.
And it's also in the Carson Now, Nevada Appeal. And the morning of, Dr. Robertson and myself will be on guest appearance on Channel 4 with Chris Murphy
Oh, nice.
talking more about the event. Thank you so much for that opportunity.
That is lovely. Any other comments or,
Yeah.
oh, comments from members of the commission? No, but no, and.
Seat 1 and seat 7 on our little, on your console.
C1 and C7.
Seat 1.
Seat 1,
They have the hand raised, seat 1, seat 7.
that's Sam.
Oh,
I'm looking at this going,
But I
is
do
this
have mine
new
raised.
to us? Is this new to us?
Yeah, we were talking about it in our training.
But it's like, meh, meh, meh.
I do have a comment.
Bethany.
Bethany Drysdale for the record. Very exciting to think about how we can influence art and the beautification really of the city throughout. Next week, there's the East William Complete Streets meeting, public meeting about what's going on with East William Street. I think that'd be perfect. We're all residents. We can talk at public comment in other meetings as well. And I think that's a great opportunity to maybe share some of our thoughts on what could happen in other parts of the city as well. So next Tuesday, 5 to 7 p.m. in the Ormsby Room at the Sheriff's Office.
Oh. Okay. Anybody else? Then we'll move on to future agenda items. What would you all like to have on future agenda items? If y'all don't have anything, I have one. Can we have an update on the trash cans in the cemetery? Since we were supposed to have that as of the October meeting. I don't know what's going on with that and youth and the trash cans. And please no Day of the Dead on the trash cans. It's just my, anything else?
I would like to know, Sam Flakus for the record, I would like to know what the process is for putting agenda items on for the next meeting. I mean, just talking about it here or just talking to Sierra in the interim?
No, right now,
Right now?
right? Whatever you, put it out there.
Well, what if I think of it on the way home afterwards?
Todd, isn't this something we have to discuss as a group?
Could you ask the question again? Sorry.
When we're talking about future agenda items for the next meeting,
Yes.
we have to talk about it right now, or can we?
This is a for discussion only item in case anybody has any thoughts about items that they would like to see on a future agenda, or for Sierra to present her thoughts on what might be upcoming. If you have any thoughts that pop into your head a month down the line, you're free to contact Sierra.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Upcoming meetings. The proposed schedule of our meetings was also mailed out to everybody. Does that meet everyone's schedules? Okay. Anything else for this meeting or the good of the order that you wish to share? Does the public wish to make any comments at this point in time before we close the meeting? Now is your time.
Sharon Ross, future meetings, are those, can you share those dates with everybody?
Sarah, do you want to give her the dates? See, we were going to meet quarterly. And Sierra has the meetings.
I thought on the website for the Cultural Commission, it was every other month. Listed every other, January, March.
Sierra Scott for the record. Per the statute, we need to hold meetings at least quarterly. So we're going to do quarterly this year if the board approves, and add meetings as needed. And that will be updated on the website after the approval from the
Sharon,
commission.
they're right there. Okay, so you can
They should
reference
be in the meeting notes too, though.
They're in the meeting notes,
Yeah.
but for the public, that's a different issue.
This isn't included in the agenda and on the meeting packet on carson.org as well.
Is there anything else Sarah or Deborah want to add to the proceedings? I have to say, yes. I'm just really pleased. I think it went so well, and we've covered a lot. There's a lot coming up, and I, for one, am thrilled at the direction that we're beginning to move in. And for those of you who haven't been here, it's been difficult for the last 6 years. So we're really turning some corners here, and this is exciting. So if there's no other further comments, questions, additions, this meeting is adjourned.